Steve, my good man, how the devil are you?
I'm very good, mate. How are you?
I'm wonderful, my friend. I'm under strict instructions tonight not to drink as much vodka as last week.
Really? What happened?
Funny story for you. So last week I got home from here and I was sitting in the kitchen trying to feed myself, which wasn't going very well. It turns out I was slaughtered last week, mate. I didn't actually realise until I was wandering up the road from here to the train station. And I met my old boss, who we both know, we're both very good friends with.
Yep.
And he was walking on the other side of the road, but he was like, I just saw a shadow, and I was like, who's this creepy guy in the fucking shadows? That's weird. So I just ignored him and carried on. And then I heard this shouting. I was like, oh, fuck, this creep wants me. So I popped the headphone out, and I was like, all right, hello, what's going on? And I realised it was him. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I had a brief chat with him, and that's when I realised I was obliterated. So anyway, I get on the train, I get home, everything's okay. My brother rings me. And it's 12:30. My brother's just moved to London to go to uni, and I was like, "What's he want?" All right, I'll chat to him. But I was like, "I'm not going to chat to him in the house because there's people in the living room. Cherie's asleep upstairs. I'll just go out into the garden." So I had my headphones in, and I was chatting to him just using the hands-free thing and doing laps of the garden, which is tiny, mate. The garden's smaller than your kitchen, so I'm just doing these tiny, tiny laps. Then Cherie comes outside, and I'm like, "Are you okay? I thought you were asleep." And she was like, "I thought someone was having an argument in the garden." I was like, "No, I'm just on the phone to Peter." She's like, "Why are you shouting so much?" She was like, "I'm not shouting." And I was clearly shouting. I'd woken her up. She was asleep on the other side of the house. So she went to bed quite unhappy with me. And then when I went to bed, we're sleeping on a mattress on the floor at the moment, so I fell on top of her, which clearly didn't make things any better. So she was fuming with me. Then in the morning, I wake up, and on my way out of bed, I stand on her again, which
This is not going well for you, mate.
didn't help anything. And I was hanging out of my arse, Steve. I was so ill. And so she was still very unhappy with me then. And I was like, I'm just going to go to a coffee shop and go do some work for a bit. I'll get out of the house, give Cherie some space, because clearly I've been a dick here and she needs some space. And I said to her, "Do you want to go out or shall I?" She's like, "You can go." I was like, all right, cool. So I went out to the coffee shop to go do some work. And on the way out of the house, one of our neighbours came out. And we're in this like terrace at the minute. We're so close to all these other people. And it didn't even cross my mind that if she'd heard me, other people had heard me. And then a neighbour came out and he was like, "You all right, Tim?" I was like, "Yes, mate, I'm good. How are you?" He's like, "I'm good. Did you get everything sorted last night?" I was like, "Sorted?" He's like, "Yeah, I heard you in the garden having a raging argument with someone."
Nice.
I was like, "Oh shit, did I wake you up?" He's like, "Yeah, and my missus and my kid." I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm really sorry, man." I was like, honestly, I wasn't having an argument. I was just talking to my brother. He was like, "You were shouting quite a lot." I was like, I'm really sorry. I had quite a lot to drink."
The old Russian or USSR vodka crept up on you.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm under quite strict instructions tonight not to drink quite as much.
To be fair, I don't drink that much, as everyone knows, but we had, a glass each? A straight-up glass, and then...
I think you had 2. I think I had 3 or 4.
Yeah, you had a couple more than me, but even after the first one, I was feeling it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is some heavy stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's smooth and nice.
Yeah, it's
really nice stuff. He says crack in a second beer.
Yeah, exactly. So tonight it's the beer, but this is the end of the beer, so it probably will be a vodka later.
It will probably be a vodka later. Yes, we're back on drinking like every week, and I'm quite enjoying it.
Yeah, mate. I drink every week anyway, so it's pretty normal for me. But you're
like
getting on board.
Only drink of the week. I go to work on a Wednesday, a bit like.
Yeah. Don't take you 3 days to recover at this point, does it, Steve?
More than that. It takes me about 4 weeks. I'm still feeling it. Yeah, no, that was nice stuff. But yeah, you did not come across as drunk at all, mate. Might have been the fresh air when you stepped outside.
Yeah, that's fair. Just stumbling up the road, mate. I was pretty gone by the time I got back.
Yeah, this house is quite deceptive because the house I live in, mid-terrace, is always really hot in here, isn't it? It is insanely hot. It's quite a new build house. It's not very old. Insulating's really good. You walk in after you get off the train and walk down here. You're like, Christ, it's hot in here.
Every time, mate. As soon as I walk in, I'm stripping off all of the layers I've got. I normally roll my jeans up, but these jeans are a bit too tight to do that annoyingly. So
we never have the heating on.
Yeah,
it's insane. Like the house just heats itself. It's great. It costs us nothing to heat the place.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that when you then have a drink and you step outside into the heat, into the cold, it's like, whoa, that fresh air hits you.
Yeah, it's just like clubbing, isn't it? And just going outside.
You feel fine until you step outside, and it's like hell's teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully this week you won't destroy your neighbours' eardrums.
Yeah, fingers crossed, eh?
Keep stamping on Cherie when you get in.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes, eh?
Right.
How was your weekend anyway, Steve? You were away for the weekend?
I was away for the weekend, mate. I went fishing, which was really good, really enjoyable. Met a few of the lads at the Syndicate Lake. Did a bit of fishing, a lot of chilling, a lot of relaxing. It was pretty cold. Pretty cool. We stayed out all night for 2 nights.
Yeah, exactly. You're out in the middle of October in the UK summertime. That's a big old daddy longlegs flying about here, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got the window open because it's so hot in here, and obviously
yes.
the light is just attracting every insect in the world. So I might just nip off and shut that. Actually.
That's probably a good shout, mate.
Yeah.
I'll let you get up and do that, and I will just continue talking while you do that, and I'll hope that I can make enough words that make sense so you can come back and continue the conversation without me having to chat too much shit. And you're back, so it worked beautifully.
Oh, sorry, people.
Hit the mic.
I hit the mic. Oh, damn it. Sorry, people. I apologise. It's not going well. Tim's stepping on his missus and I'm stepping on the mic.
Yeah, there we go. It's fine, though. The mic won't be angry at you for that. It will just be all of our listeners.
Yeah, I didn't get rid of that daddy long legs, though, did I?
No, that's fine, mate. He'll be all right. No way. I thought you just karate kidded him. I really thought you just got him for a mo.
I haven't got any chopsticks, but
yeah.
I'm having a good go. That is a big daddy. I've got to get a picture of that and put it on social media. My Christ, that thing has got like its own gravitational pull.
I really thought you were going to say it has more legs than it actually has. Anyway, that's not anything to do with MotoGP, is it, Steve?
Yeah, let's get off this massive tangent before we start. Just go on one of our massive tangents.
Yeah, exactly. So, Steve, shall we dive into the show?
Let's go straight for it, buddy.
Good stuff. I'm Tim, he's Steve, and this is for the love of MotoGP. So if you're new to MotoGP, guys, and you've just made it through that rather long and you could say unnecessary intro, but I'm never going to say my words are unnecessary, then check out our introduction to MotoGP show. It will give you everything you need to know to start enjoying the sport we all love. Steve and I dive into the teams, the manufacturers, the riders, the storylines going into the season. We even make our predictions for what is going to happen this year. Spoiler alert, my predictions were very, very wrong.
I think so were mine, weren't they?
I can't remember who you picked to win, but I picked Alex
We've got
Rins.
it written down somewhere. It's in the show, isn't it?
We will go back through as the season's over.
We'll dig it out.
Yes, we'll go through and we will evaluate our predictions for the year, but I can tell you now, mine were terrible.
I think, to be fair, a lot of people's predictions for this year are going to be very wrong.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of people had their money on Quartararo.
I think they did, but I think like what happened in the rest of the season could be...
That's fair. I'm not sure how many people had Marquez to come back and win 2 races. No, so exactly.
But we'll see. We'll go back, evaluate it at the end of the year, and we will come back to you with that news.
Yes, exactly. So news this week, Steve. There didn't look like there was going to be a lot of news to start with, but actually, as the day has progressed, we've found more and more to talk about, which has been quite nice.
Yeah. I was a little concerned earlier on. I was thinking about what's happened, having a quick look through what's going on, and there wasn't that much, but we found a bit more this evening.
Yes, yeah, certainly did. There's certainly more that has picked up, and the first one is kind of the big one really for the week, Steve, so we'll dive into that first, and that is a member of the Sponsorama racing team has been suspended until at least the end of the year for falsifying a PCR test in order to get into the paddock at Misano.
Yes, not good.
Not good at all. Obviously, we saw this just before we started recording and then started looking into it a bit more. Sponsorama released an Instagram post explaining that they have been working very closely with IRTA and with Dorna in ensuring that this doesn't happen again. Like, this is a travesty almost. This guy has just decided that, no, I'm not going to do another test. I'm just going to fake my last test and I'm going to get in and we're going to do it like that. But this was picked up.
Yeah, I could kind of sort of sympathise to people's plight that if it is your job and your livelihood's at stake, you want to be there. You don't want to miss your work.
But and I might be very wrong about this, to be fair, but I sort of feel like most of the MotoGP teams, if you fail a PCR test and you got COVID, are they going to not pay you anyway? I feel like maybe they should have to pay you anyway. It's not really your fault you got the COVID, unless you went and licked someone with COVID, but that seems like a very silly thing to do.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what your contract with them is.
And we know that all these guys are freelancers, to be fair, but so, I don't know. I don't know what the contracts say, but I feel like it would be a big dick move on the parts of the teams to not pay their staff for this.
Yeah, I think he probably is getting paid. He's probably a deal.
I hope so. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
But whatever happened, there's no way you should have done that.
No, exactly. So he has been suspended till the end of the year. The actual post that Sponsorama released was a lot of fucking legalese bullshit, man. It was hard to read.
It was quite a hard one. You had to pick it, although it was broken down into paragraphs and
It was tough, though. I don't know whether
properly
it's
written.
because it was originally in another language and then translated
It
to English.
might have been. It might have been that adding to sort of the language barrier, translation confusion. But whatever happened for us reading it in English, it was excuse me, it was a little bit hard. It felt very legal.
Yeah, it was tough. It took me, and I mean, it must have only been 200 words or something, but it
Wasn't
took
long.
me a lot of time to work out exactly what they were saying and what has happened here. And then we did dive into it. We Googled it, found The Race had written an article about it. But yes, not good. The post essentially says that this mechanic has been a very naughty boy, so clearly not the Messiah. And he has been suspended, and there will be a full investigation going on. And I mean, I was reading into it a little bit more, and it did kind of say that, you know, the PCR tests have to be paid for by the team, and it's costing teams thousands of euros a year at the moment.
A lot of money.
And outside of the UK, actually, especially for the European rounds, the COVID numbers aren't that bad at the moment. So there's a lot of teams being like, well, you know, should we have to be doing this still?
Yeah.
I mean, my side of the argument is just yes, you should have to still be doing
until
this.
it's all over and there's a line drawn under it.
Exactly.
Yes, keep it. Be as safe as what you possibly can.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it means forking out money, it's for your own good at the end of the day. If your entire mechanical force comes down with COVID, you're screwed.
Well, I mean, imagine if 2 or 3 mechanics take COVID into the paddock. Realistically, over a weekend, like that could
That's game over.
Spread across. That's going to be your entire team, and there'll be multiple teams, and like we know COVID's no joke here. Like this could
rip through.
It could rip through, and it could be multiple people's lives. So
let's look at this hypothetical scenario and say this guy got in this weekend, was in the paddock, not socialised, but mixed with his team. Those people come in close contact with other people.
It's interesting. We also don't know whether he had COVID. We just know he faked a test.
Yeah. I'm naturally assuming that.
I'm also assuming, but just to clarify, we don't know this. This hasn't been something we've read
make
anywhere.
that clear. We're just putting that assumption out.
Yeah.
This is just our scenario we're creating to cover all sort of bases for our assumptions.
Yeah.
So he had COVID. He gets into the paddock. He then spreads that around. With 3 rounds to go, 10 days isolation, although we've got a race this weekend, a weekend off, then a weekend back. By the time everyone redoes their tests and get the 2 negative tests that you then got to have, travels, that's game over. You might as well call an end to the season almost, or maybe have 1 round at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole long COVID thing is no joke. It's something like 50% of people who have had COVID are suffering long COVID now.
Yeah.
And while it's only a small percentage of those, some of them are fucked, man. Like
Some are
really
knackered.
long-term damage.
Yeah, some people's lung capacities are really taking a hit.
Yeah, and we even saw it with Valentino Rossi last year. He had COVID, was out for a round. Was he out for a whole round? Can't remember now. Was out for a whole round, then Gerloff did 1 Friday free practice for him or something.
Yeah, then he was back.
But you know, he said throughout the rest of that year he was still suffering. He still wasn't up to full fitness.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when I had COVID, while all my symptoms, thankfully, I was double jabbed. Thankfully, it was okay. My symptoms were very limited, but even the symptoms I did have, the sense of smell, it still now isn't back up to what it was. Like my sense of smell, my taste still isn't the same as how it was beforehand. So
I was surprised. It really does get you.
Yeah, it's amazing how long it lasts, man.
I've not had COVID. The closest thing I've had to like that kind of thing is pneumonia.
Yeah, and that's a fuck. Your pneumonia case was way worse than when I got COVID, man.
That knocked me for 6. That came on so quickly. I remember being at work, and this was when I was welding, and I was perfectly fine, welding away, and we stopped for a break at like 3:15, 3 o'clock, whatever time it was. Sat down for 15 minutes, and I could not physically get out of my chair. My legs were like lead. I was exhausted. And that was it. That's just how it hit, and it got progressively worse. My temperature spiked to like 41.8 or something.
That's high, man.
That got to the point where I was laying in bed, and I couldn't bear my bare skin to touch anything.
Yeah.
Because the heat, any extra heat, was just ripping me. The pain in my joints, my lungs. Couldn't take a breath because the lungs hurt. So I can't even imagine what a bad case of COVID could do to you if you had an underlying health issue.
Well, I imagine, to be fair, a very bad case of COVID and a very bad case of pneumonia is going to be, while the symptoms aren't going to be similar, the suffering is going to be quite similar.
That was nasty. I mean, we did a podcast when I was recovering.
Yeah.
I was laying in bed, and even then it was hard to talk because I couldn't talk like this and get the air in at the same time. I was having massive pauses to just draw in air. So COVID, man, I don't even want to like speculate what it would be like.
No, exactly. It's just it seems so immoral, doesn't it, that someone would go in, falsify a test, and there'd be a risk of it spreading, whether they had it or not. If they falsified a test, there's going to be a risk they've got it, a risk that it's spreading, and just spreading it to 1,000 people in the paddock. And yes, we know everyone's double jabbed, but that's sort of irrelevant. Like you can still get it if you're double jabbed, like and it can be bad. So it seems so immoral.
Yeah.
But this guy has been suspended. I imagine he's not going to be rehired. I imagine he's
something like this has got to be not just a slap wrist. This is see your son.
Yeah, exactly. And I imagine his job working within the MotoGP paddock will be gone. He's not named, as far as we're aware. We do know it's a Sponsorama, but that's about it.
I'm quite glad he's not named.
Certainly.
Because I think just the finger pointing alone, just people's outbursts and reaction targeted straight at him would probably be quite unnecessary. He's got his punishment.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Moving on then, Steve.
Aye.
This weekend at Misano, we hit match point for 2 of the 3 remaining championships within the MotoGP paddock.
We certainly do.
Both Pedro Acosta and Fabio Quartararo can theoretically win their respective championships this weekend. I mean, it seems like pretty unlikely in either case, but it can happen. Fabio Quartararo needs to score, or needs to outscore Pecco Bagnaia, or lose less than 2 points to him.
Yeah.
This race. I feel like that's unlikely.
I do feel like that's unlikely.
I think he'll wrap the round up. If he doesn't wrap the championship up this round, he'll wrap it up next round.
Yeah, it's almost a done deal. The only one who could lose it now is himself.
Certainly.
And that will be, I think, a tyre issue.
Even if he crashes out of this round, mate, he and Pecco wins, who I'm expecting to be winning this round. Yeah. He still goes in with a 27-point lead into Portimao. Like he's still looking pretty comfortable to take the title no matter what. But yes, you're right. 2 DNFs could make Valencia a very, very interesting race.
But it's got to be DNFs.
It has to be DNFs.
It has to be DNFs. I mean, lower scoring points.
Or, 16th place finishes.
Yeah. Just finish outside the points.
Yeah.
Then it changes the ball game completely.
Yeah, it really does.
But it does really feel like it's wrapped up this weekend, which is... I kind of hope in some ways he does wrap it up this weekend.
For him, I sort of hope he does, but for the rest of us watching, I sort of hope he doesn't.
That's what I would do, because I feel like I want him to win it so much that I want to get it done. But at the same time, we always want the championship decider to come down to Valencia.
Yeah, exactly.
Although not the best track, as we both agree, it is just that thriller. It's the last take it to the wire thriller, which we all love.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's only his to lose.
Yes.
But
and that's exactly the case.
We can't predict what is going to happen.
We can't. I will predict a Pecco win, so I think the championship will go to Portimao at least.
I think I'll go for Portimao.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that if something goes wrong for Pecco or for Quartararo, who only lost to Pecco by about 0.3 of a second last time we were in Misano, let's not forget. So there is a very, very good chance Fabio wraps up this weekend.
Yeah.
And actually, Steve, if Fabio does win the title this year, full stop, whether he wins it now or whether he wins it in Portimao or even in Valencia, he'll become only the 17th rider to win the Premier Class Championship without winning either the lightweight or middleweight title on the way to doing so. So that's a pretty big milestone in itself.
That is. I was just looking at your question.
Yes, so I put a question in here for you, Steve. Can you name any of the other 16 riders who have won the Premier Class, whether it be MotoGP or 500s, without winning either the middleweight or the lightweight titles? So, 125s, Moto3, or the 250s up to Moto2.
Casey Stoner.
Casey Stoner, good answer. That's the one I got. I think I got 2 of them right, actually. And Casey Stoner was one of them.
Johan Mir?
No, Johan Mir won the Moto3 title.
Yeah, he did. Oh, damn it. I can't think of another one.
Okay, you got to go back further than Casey Stoner to... I won't quite say
it's not going to be anyone quite this modern.
No, it's certainly... There is only one other MotoGP rider who's done it, though. To give you a clue, I think he was teammates with Casey Stoner for a little while. He won his title for Repsol Honda.
Nicky Hayden.
Nicky Hayden, yeah. Nicky Hayden didn't compete in either the middleweight
straight to
or lightweight
MotoGP.
class. Yeah, exactly.
Before that, you're going back to 500s.
We are in 500s at this point, yeah. There's a father-son team that both did it.
Nietos? No.
No. Americans?
Oh, Roberts.
Yes,
Kenny
both.
Roberts, junior and senior. Yeah, of course they did. Jesus, yeah. Who else? Let me cast it back. Did Doohan? Is Doohan on that list?
Doohan's on the list, yeah.
Let me keep going.
We've got at least 2 more Americans.
2 more. Oh, Schwantz Rayleigh?
Yes, good shout. I don't actually know where this fella's from, sadly. Eddie Lawson is one of them.
Australian.
Australia, okay. Another Australian did it too.
Freddie Spencer?
Freddie Spencer did do it, not the Australian I meant. Was Freddie Spencer Australian?
No, he's American.
Okay.
I'm getting my people wrong now. I'm going to try to cast my mind back. Another Aussie.
Yes.
What year? Can you give me the year?
No, I can tell you his son is competing for a title now.
Oh, Jesus. Joe Roberts.
No, not Joe Roberts. Joe Roberts is American.
Oh, Joe, yes. Competing for a title now?
In Moto2.
Oh, Gardner.
Yes.
Wayne Gardner.
Wayne Gardner did it. Now we're into a load of people you probably don't know. Oh, you probably do know, but it would be very hard to guess. Franco Uncini did it.
Uncini, yes.
Marco Lucinelli did it. I don't know when that was.
You're coming right back now. You're in the 70s.
Okay.
60s and 70s.
Another Brit did it. I say another Brit, like maybe one of the very few British champions here.
Sheen?
Yeah, Barry Sheen. We then got Libero Liberati. We're into very early eras here. I was going to
say, you're cranking it right back now.
Umberto Mazzetti did it, and then obviously the very first Premier Class World Champion in Leslie Graham did it too.
Nice.
You got more of those than I did, to be fair.
With a bit of help, though.
That's fair.
To be fair, I wouldn't have got that many if you hadn't have been pointing me in the right direction. It's easy to see. We had this conversation last time about when you're put on the spot, how your mind goes blank. I probably, if I was given the time, if you asked me that this morning, I probably could have got a few more, but I wouldn't have got all those.
Yeah, I got Stoner and Doohan, and after that I started to lose it a bit. But then my knowledge of MotoGP history is very limited. It's only stuff that I've learned since 2011 or whatever.
Yeah. It's in my stats. There's a really good statistician on Twitter, Sofa Racer.
Okay.
Who is so good.
Yeah, is it all MotoGP stats or just okay?
Yeah, racing stats. He's really, really good.
What's his name?
Well.
Sofa Racer.
Sofa Racer.
Sofa Racer. Okay, if I remember,
That's
Steve,
a massive plug.
I will put a link to Sofa Racer in the show notes on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
So if I've remembered, guys, Sofa Racer, I will put a link to his Twitter account.
Yeah.
His or her Twitter account.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's male. I just always go for that. But yeah. I've asked several questions about stats, and they come back with a really good answer. And they're also funny. They will take the piss out of people.
Good. That's what I like from a Twitter page.
I don't know if they're on Instagram, but if you're on Twitter, check them out. It's definitely worth a look. Massive plug.
We'll be charging them for that later.
Yeah, it's 500 quid.
So much like MotoGP, we're also looking at Matchpoint in Moto3, although this one looks even less likely. Yes. Pedro Acosta needs to outscore Dennis Foggia by 21 points.
That's a DNF.
Yes, exactly. And Foggia has been on an absolute tear.
Has he been on the podium for the last 4 or 5 rounds?
I think he's had 6 podiums out of 7 rounds or something.
Yeah, something
he's
like that.
Taken a load of wins. He won Misano last time we were there. So, it's looking like
it's not going to happen this weekend. If this one happens this weekend, it is a hell of a DNF, a crash, or out of his hands tyre failure, mechanical.
Yeah, and requiring Acosta to win the race.
Exactly.
Acosta has to win the race, and you require
Acosta finish last Misano?
That's a great question, Steve. I wish I knew the answer off the top of my head, but I don't.
It was 3rd or 4th.
Okay, 3rd or 4th.
Off the top of my head. We should.
Let me have a look. Acosta finished 7th.
Yeah, I knew it was off the podium.
In the last Misano round. So
if Foggia crashes and he equals that 7th.
Well, then that's still not enough to do it, is it?
No.
So yeah, that title's gonna go, but it could mathematically be done now. Plus, we also know that Acosta, his second time back at the track, Acosta is a talent, so he will probably have a better result.
Yeah.
Speaking of Acosta, Steve, have you seen the pictures of Pedro Acosta and Augusto Fernandez standing together?
I saw this when you sent me the notes. I was like, I actually haven't seen this.
It's great, man. So obviously we know they're going to be Akiayo teammates in Moto2 next year. But it's hysterical to see them standing next to each other, man. Because I mean, Augusto Fernandez looks like a man. He's a big guy. His arms are bigger than my thighs. You see a lot of these MotoGP riders, and their forearms are shredded. Their arms are shredded. His neck is massive. Like, he's got big, broad shoulders. And then standing next to him is this. I mean, I'm not being disparaging to Pedro Acosta here, because he's obviously way more talented at riding a motorcycle than I've ever been at anything in my entire life. But he is also a weedy 17-year-old lad. So he's like this weedy 17-year-old lad standing next to this shredded guy. And they're like doing the handshake thing you always see in the photos. And there's just Pedro Acosta grinning away, braces. It just looks like an awkward teenager. Like, it's so funny, man. It's like the ugly duckling and the swan standing right next to each other. It's a really funny picture.
I know what you mean. I haven't. I'll have to look this up. I'll have to get online and have a look.
Yeah, it's just on the MotoGP website. But it got me thinking, though, that it's going to be interesting to see the difference in their fitness levels and stuff, because I imagine, I hadn't really thought about it before, but seeing the two guys next to each other, it must be really, really physically demanding to jump from Moto3 to Moto2 and do like a race weekend and stuff.
Oh, God,
you're going to be fucking knackered. You just haven't got the mass, whether it's muscle or it's not fat with these guys, but just the general body mass to be able to deal with swinging this bike around and manhandling it so much. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how they compare. I know we know Augusto Fernandez is obviously going to be faster for most of the year.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting if they're together for the second year and maybe a third year going on, to see how they...
It'd be nice to see the change as well. See how... I forgot which one it was now, the weedy one.
That Pedro Acosta.
Yeah. So, athletic build.
I think just shredded, certainly. He's going to be really muscly.
Yeah, he's going to change. He's obviously going to come into his own. He's going to get his bulk on a Moto2 bike. So I'd be interested to see how he changes next year.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and looked at pictures of Bastianini in Moto3 back in the day. You're like, oh my God, who is this child who's turned into this hunk of a man now?
On social media, like, you get the flashback Thursdays, what it is. We really should do something in our group.
Yeah,
just get some pictures. God, you look at the difference in like a couple of years. You're like, who is that?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they give you, you flick the page, like, shit. Yeah. That's never them.
And even like Johan Mir and stuff, you see him when he was winning his Moto3 title. You're like, Jesus.
So quickly. But we've been watching these guys for a while.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? That you've been watching these guys come up from when they were like 16, 17 years old up to now, Well,
we're going to do the same thing with like Acosta.
Yes,
we're going to sit here, we're going to talk about it in X amount of years when he's in MotoGP, hopefully. And then we'll be like, I remember what he was like when he was like weedy 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Who was then coming into Moto2, and you're just going to forget what they look like.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And I guess you and I, while we did speak about these guys together, when we were together, we'd chat about them, but we never really discussed Moto2 and Moto3 on the show until this year. Oh, Steve's having a terminal mic failure there.
It's just fainted on me.
But we never really spoke about these guys on the show at all. So now we're giving them more attention and stuff. It feels like even more of a change.
Yeah. It's quite weird because we're going to see these guys grow and progress properly. I mean, this is the first year where we've really thrown a lot of interest in Moto3.
Yes, certainly.
And Moto2. In years gone by, it's been predominantly MotoGP. Now we're taking more of an interest in the lower classes.
Yeah.
Everyone that I started watching Rossi when he was 19, 20. So we'd already got out of that sort of childish phase, although he was still a kid himself. Now we're watching the really young guys coming through.
Yeah.
And we're just going to see that transition from through their teenage years, the 20s, 30s, and through their career.
Definitely. And it's fun. The reason we talk about them now is because we had a lot of fun just talking about them before and watching them progress before. And it's like, let's just share this fun with everyone listening, because it is just, it's another element, isn't it, to throw into the whole MotoGP story.
It's an experience. We started out as a predominantly MotoGP only based thing. And then we sort of just somehow merged in with the news, the Moto3 stuff, because it is so interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
And the racing's just got so good.
And it's just fun to watch them progress. It just adds to the stories, doesn't it?
And it's just that whole MotoGP weekend. You click it on the telly, it's MotoGP.
That's what Dorna have absolutely nailed with the broadcast, is the fact that it's always Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP. If you're watching one, you've got the opportunity to watch them all. You can watch them all over the entire weekend. Dorna have really nailed that. And this is where
got that on point.
I feel like the Formula One stuff have really failed in this aspect, because they don't have the same support series. You don't, as a casual fan, I feel like most casual fans, if you're watching on BT Sport, you probably know a lot about the Moto3 and Moto2 riders anyway. Sports like Formula 1, you've literally got no fucking idea
wouldn't have
who's
a clue.
coming up unless you are paying really close attention to what's going on in Formula 2 and Formula 3. But it's not as accessible. Dorna have nailed it with MotoGP and that whole progression up
It's
through
just
the classes.
the whole day. I look at like my TV planner. I often talk about it on what's on my Skybox to record. It's all day. I have to go through and sit and press record.
Yeah.
And it'll come on like race days on at like 7:30 in the morning for warm up. It'll finish at 5 at night.
Yeah, exactly.
It is all day, and I sit there, like, especially on a Friday. I've been at work. I want to come home, watch free practice. I'm like, shall I watch all this?
Yeah.
I'm going to be up to like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just going, well, watch the lot. I want all this thing, and you find yourself skipping straight to the race. I'm like, I want to see the interviews. I want to see all this. It's such a good coverage.
Yeah, it's amazing, mate. It's
the
really,
entire
really good.
thing. It feels very in depth and very open and accessible.
Yes, certainly.
Which is what I like.
And that's what they've really nailed. And that's keeps fans glued, doesn't it? Because you already get, and we're seeing it now with obviously Valentino Rossi leaving. But all of these fans have had an opportunity to watch all these other riders come up, so you can make new allegiances. You can make you can now be a fan of this person rather than just Rossi. And I think that's a big part of keeping fans interested in the sport.
That is, yeah, I completely agree. And it's just that transition. You can follow that person now, and we know we could be watching him in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Down the road, you know, so I've got the first shirt from the Moto3, and I've now got their MotoGP shirt with the world champion.
Exactly.
You know, it's a hell of a progression to watch. Whereas, like you say, with Formula 1, you don't know who's coming up.
No, not a clue, mate. I can name a few Formula 2 drivers.
Wouldn't have a clue. Wouldn't have a foggiest. Wouldn't even know where to pick it up.
I think I can name one Formula 3 driver who is, I think David Schumacher is in Formula 3.
Foggiest.
He is the son of Ralf Schumacher. I just sort of know him because he's a Schumacher. I think he was in European Formula 3. I think he's in normal Formula 3 now. But I don't know that. See, and this is the thing, whereas I could reel off a list of names of Moto3 riders.
Aye.
What happened there? You just looked around like you'd seen a ghost for a moment.
That is the father's hearing.
Okay, I've got the headphones on, so. But
Yes, you have got anyway. I'm saying it quite free, but yeah, I've just heard one of my spawn awaken.
Oh dear. Let's move it on to the next point then, Steve. Australia here is going to get its own mini GP series going on.
On board with this.
Yep, this is another addition to the road to MotoGP.
Yes.
We know the road to MotoGP has been growing in recent years, and the FIM Mini GP Australia Series is the latest addition. It aims to create an economically viable way for youngsters to get into racing with equal machinery throughout the grid. And then from there, you can tell I wrote that down because I really did nail that line. I was quite proud of that.
I was quite impressed. I was sitting watching you thinking, fucking hell, he's on this. And then I realised it's right in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote this down earlier. But the best riders will progress from the Mini GP Australia Series into Mini GP World Championship. And from there, they have the chance to progress further on the road to MotoGP.
Like you said, it's another good expansion.
Yes, I think it is.
Come in. We spoke about it was the last podcast, the one before, where how we wish more countries had their roads in. So this is just another one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's on the road, and then hopefully we'll see some more popping in, and it's just going to be this filter line of ways to get in.
Yeah, exactly. It means you probably, for a lot of these kids now, maybe you don't have to leave your home country to go
you don't have
to
to
Spain.
do a Jack Miller.
Exactly. You don't have to leave wherever you are to go to Spain or to Italy to go and compete
really
in those championships to then work your way up. You can do it from much closer to home to start with, and I think that's really good.
I really like that. I'm very on board for this mini GP series.
I like it. My only problem with it is I can't help but think maybe Dorna and the FIM should be looking to slow down the progression of young riders at the moment because of all the events we've seen and this rider safety with all these young guys. I understand fully that, like I say, it's going to be much better for the riders involved, for their families, for everyone to have riders at home still, not having to ship out to Europe and move the entire family's life to Europe, like with Casey Stoner, like Jack Miller. But I don't know, man. I think there's still things that need to be sorted on this.
I think there are things to be sorted on this. I'm kind of on the flip side of that coin, where I think if you start these guys on these smaller bikes with not slightly more power, spec bikes,
yes,
to easily start on and then start that progression early, they're going to get used to these things. There's no way we're going to get away from events that we've seen this year. They're always going to happen.
They will always happen. Hopefully they don't happen with the frequency we've been seeing them this year. And I
Yeah.
think maybe just age limits and stuff is quite an
I
important
think
part of it.
so. Obviously, like we said in the past, like more intelligent and knowledgeable people than us will be sorting these regulations and rules out. I'm kind of on board with this progressive stepped pattern that we've spoken about before. So even if these guys have to stay in this series for several years and just keep that loop, and there's different ways until they've got their whatever experience to move up.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on the other side of the coin, but I'm also with you on the other side as well. I can see the thinking. I'm trying to take in sort of like the
global view of things going on here. Yeah.
Try to sit back and look at the whole thing. I'm on it. I'm definitely really on it for the ways to get into MotoGP.
Certainly, and I just like the idea of a diversified field. Yeah, pretty much.
I do. I wish we had representatives from like as many countries as what we could get.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've had periods in the past, haven't we? Like the very early periods, there was a lot of British riders. We've had periods where it's been a lot of American riders. We've had, in the moment, we're in this era of kind of Italian and Spanish riders and stuff. So it's nice. It would be nice to have just, if we could have 20 riders from 20 different countries, oh my God, that would be ideal.
Nuts. That would be insane.
But that's probably never going to happen. But, the more representation you get from around the world, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's going to get far more diversified with these roads links coming in.
It will do. It certainly will do.
Because we'll see people now from, like, say, other parts of Asia or Australasia moving, probably relocating, like say, always said, that's complete contradiction of what we just said. But anyone in that kind of locality hasn't got a route to the other side of the world.
Yeah, well, you got to think with the Asia Talent Cup and stuff, they haven't really even got to move that far to Australia.
Like, I mean.
There's,
if you're in, say,
and there's Middle Eastern routes in now. So there are certainly plenty of routes that stop people having to
be European based.
Exactly,
which is quite nice.
It's great, mate. I think it's really, really good, and I think that's the only way to really do a world championship.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll be dotted all over the place, and it's just another stepping stone to then open up more.
Yes.
Like we bang on about South America quite a bit. Let's get a couple down there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Iannone Hernandez, but
exactly.
There's been no one since then.
No, let's get him back.
Yeah, exactly.
He can run the championship somewhere. Not sure where he is at the minute.
Isn't he MotoGP at the moment?
I think he might be. But whatever he's doing, I'm sure he'd be. If someone was to say, Iannone, we're going to your country, there's going to be
Colombia, I think Iannone Hernandez.
Colombian, or Chilean. But whatever, if he was in that region, I'm sure he would be on board with it. He'd be game. He'd be a representative.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, he's Colombian.
He'd certainly help to run it, and then get a northern hemisphere.
Well, there's the Northern Talent Cup for Northern Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of that, what do you need really? What is in the Northern Hemisphere apart from Europe and the Americas? And I mean, America has got its. Is there an American Talent Cup? Is there a way in, or is it all through? It's not AMA anymore, Moto America.
Yeah, Moto America. I think it's mainly through Moto America, but you could run a series over there.
Yeah.
You could run a series in South America. You could have. When was it? We had a Russian rider.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't think we have. You could even have.
I imagine there has been.
I would imagine there is somewhere. Yeah, even as a wild card.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
But even that with the European Cup, DV, there's routes in.
Yes,
it's getting more accessible, which is really, really good. So hopefully we'll see a very diverse. And come on, you girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out there, get right in, don your leathers, and show these boys how it's done.
Yeah. Can't wait for the first female world champion, man.
I really cannot wait. I'm so looking forward to that. I just want to see him add that element where everyone's like looking at him. Oh, it's a girl. Ah, fuck you. Watch this.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
what I'm waiting for. That bit where they just swipe it off. Just, fuck you.
Yeah.
And just go and dominate. Go on, girls.
Exactly. Speaking of domination, Steve, this weekend sees Valentino Rossi's last race on Italian soil.
I am going to need a bit of alcohol this weekend.
I normally have alcohol on the weekend, so it's pretty normal for me.
I know. It's finally here. His last race on Italian soil. It feels like I've been saying you should retire for a long time.
But now it's getting so real. We've got 3 races of Rossi left, man.
I know the apprehension of what it's going to be like after. Although, to be fair, we've had a glimpse of the future because he's been riding so far at the back. We've not seen him for so long. We've already had life without Rossi, and we've been living it for the last 2 years.
Yes.
And we're all still here. So, yeah, the sport will be fine. But to take away from the fact that this is going to be a mental weekend.
There's going to be a few sobbing fans, I think.
There's going to be
Misano
a
this
lot
weekend.
of broken hearts around Tavullia this weekend.
Yes,
and
certainly.
all over the world.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It is a big thing. It's a big thing. It's a hell of a career he's had.
It's quite incredible, man. But how big is this party going to be in Tavullia or just at Misano, full stop, man? Imagine if this was Mugello.
If this was Mugello, this would be off the scale. I think the security around that place, if I was him, I'd get a chopper out of there.
Yeah, that's probably
I
fair.
really do think, although he'd probably love to be in amongst the fans, I think for his own safety and just for getting mobbed, get the hell out of there. And that's a sad thing to say. I'm sure they'd be all absolutely fine with it, but I don't think he'd get off the track for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Because every single fan would be lined up just give him a pat on the back.
So I've really got to get to Portugal, guys. I've got a race in 3 hours.
Yeah, but right, hop in Dave's car.
Yeah.
We'll get you there, sunshine. Imagine, it just, you know what these guys are like anyway, they're mental.
Yeah.
They're so passionate. But that said as well, that adds to what MotoGP is and what this guy's done for the sport.
Certainly.
We see track invasions, we see celebrations, massive celebrations for other riders as well, but we don't see them on this grand scale for this guy.
No, not at all. It's just the thing, isn't it? With Marc Marquez, even at the peak of his powers, still had a close fan base to Valentino Rossi, but it was still usually, unless we were in Spain, more yellow than red in those flags.
Yeah, I mean, I forget which championship it was. I think it might have even been Nicky Hayden's championship. When they were at Valencia and he crashed, the flares they let off at the end were Rossi's colours.
Yeah.
Because no one expected Hayden to win it, and everyone just expect Rossi to pull off some magic. So no one brought Nicky Hayden colours.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, everyone was just letting off like the yellow flags, and even the commentators mentioned it. Didn't expect this, did they?
Yeah.
And it just shows the anticipation, the hype that's been put around this guy all his career. But yeah, I did send you a message.
Yeah, this
earlier.
is a good one, man. Like, do we think that this is what you asked? But do we think that Rossi's celebrations might overshadow Quartararo if Quartararo wins the title this weekend?
I do. I really do. I'm a little bit worried for this. This is why I really hope something happens. And in some ways, Quartararo doesn't wrap it up this weekend.
I also don't think Quartararo is going to have a ridiculous celebration anyway for his first championship. I think it's going to be a very much nicely done, boys. Let's go for a drink.
I think he'd be very, very humble, like you say. I think he's obviously a very nice person. We've seen when he's won in the past, he's not had outlandish celebrations.
No, he gets a bit overexcited and he shouts and screams and sets his airbag off.
But at the same time, if he was to win a championship this weekend, I wouldn't want him to have to stand there and be overshadowed by this demigod. I'd want him to be able to bask in that, what he just done, and
I
take
think
it all in.
I think he will, because I don't think he's not going to have a Valentino Rossi, a Marc Marquez style celebration. I don't think you can really get away with that. So you've done 4 or 5 titles anyway. You just look like a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
So I think he'll probably have quite a quiet celebration as it is. But I do think you're right. I do think that if he wins it this week, I think there's going to be more focus on Rossi.
I do. It is a shame, because I think if you're celebrating your first championship, you should be able to put that fake number 1 on the front, put your t-shirts on.
Yeah.
But the camera is naturally going to go to Rossi doing his outlap.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be split between the two. And even when on the podium, there's probably going to be a track invasion. All the yellow flares will be going off.
An interesting point, actually, because I don't know, does Misano usually have track invasions? Mugello certainly does.
Mugello certainly does. I think Misano has done in the past.
Okay.
But not so much recently. But I think this weekend we could see a track invasion.
Certainly. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think the marshals are going to give a shit this weekend. They're probably leading them down this way.
Exactly. They'll be like, come on, open the gates, lads. I'm at the front of the queue.
Yeah, me first. I'm getting that fairing. See ya. I'm torn on this one. As much as I want to see a mental track invasion, Rossi send-off for his last Italian race, if Quartararo does win his championship this weekend, I also want to see him basking in his own glory.
Yeah.
So I'm 50-50 on this one. Yeah.
I guess we'll wait and see. I do think we're going to get quite bored quite quickly of hearing the commentators talk about how it's Rossi's last weekend on Italian soil. Much like, to be fair, all of our listeners right now are probably bored of us mentioning it. But I think over the broadcast, it's going to get a bit much.
Yeah. You're only going to listen to us for like an hour and a half, maybe.
If that today, Steve.
Yeah, we're going to listen to these guys all weekend.
Yeah, for 3 days.
Yeah, so might have to have a little word with the bosses at BT.
Yeah, just tweet, please stop.
Yeah, you can't though. You can't blame him for talking about it. It's going to be a massive thing. The anticipation behind this weekend, what it means to the sport. We were speculating over what this means to viewer numbers. We had this conversation last week.
Yeah.
We were speculating over this for many, many years. Ever since there was rumours of Rossi switching to Formula One all those years ago.
Yeah, okay. So what's that, 2005? Oh, that is... No, not 2002.
No, 2005 because it was MotoGP era.
Yeah.
2005, 2006, maybe 7. But yeah, it was a long time ago. But even then, people were like, fuck, what are we going to do if he leaves?
And to be fair, if he'd left then, I think
it
maybe
would have been
it would have
serious
been a
trouble.
very different story. The championship now is a very powerful championship without Rossi. Rossi's still obviously a very powerful figure within it. But, there was an era where Rossi was MotoGP.
Yeah. And it wasn't that long ago. And still is in many, many ways.
When I first started watching MotoGP, Rossi was on Ducati, but Rossi was still MotoGP then.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when there was 14 bikes on the grid and stuff.
Exactly. I mean, I can remember everyone's hype over that, Italian marriage that was supposed to be this incredible just setup, and it came to nothing. Glory days.
Yeah. When Ducati thought they really had a good bike, but in fact they just had Casey Stoner.
Yeah, everyone was saying Ducati, it's shit. No.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, Casey can win on it, but that's because Casey is phenomenal.
Yes, he's demigod A+.
Yeah, quite. Oh God, did you just say he was better than Rossi, Steve?
No.
Oh, you're going to start arguments, my friend.
I will start arguments. On a Ducati.
There is literally no arguing with that. Casey Stoner was better on a Ducati than Valentino Rossi was on a Ducati, without a doubt.
Well, what did Stoner do on his Honda before Ducati? Not a lot.
A couple of pole positions, a few podiums.
Post Ducati.
A championship in his first year and challenged for the championship in his second year when he broke his ankle and retired.
Exactly. While he was on the Ducati, what did everyone else do on the Ducati? Fuck all.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Exactly. A+ on the Ducati.
Yeah, without
clarified.
Okay, let's move it on to another Italian then, Steve, and our last piece of news here. And this is just a fun one, really.
This is a fun. Oh, this is the
Yeah, this is Andrea Iannone is on Dancing with the Stars, Italy at the moment. As you can imagine, he looks great.
He does. He looks sickeningly great.
Yeah, he just always looks sickeningly great, doesn't he? Wearing all his tight dancing gear and just shaking his stuff around the dance floor. It's fun to watch, guys. Just jump
amazing what the roids. I mean,
I think it's there is no denying it. I don't think we can be sued for saying he had ingested some form of steroid. So I think that's okay.
I think that has been covered.
Don't think we're gonna get done for libel for that one.
No, but no, he does look. He's just just sickeningly good.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of these guys are like this. We often cover this space, but wanker.
Yeah, and he can dance, which is pretty annoying too. But I imagine actually most of these guys can dance. I don't think you can ride a MotoGP bike without having the ability to use your body in a way that you can dance.
Yeah, insane coordination.
Yeah.
The ability. It's like a drummer. I look at drummers and I think, how the fuck do you do that?
Jorge Lorenzo can't dance. Oh no, he did the Masked Singer. He did the singer.
Yeah, he did the singer.
But I have seen clips of Jorge Lorenzo on his Instagram where he's like trying to dance at like these cool parties in like Cancun and stuff, and he really, really can't dance.
I feel better now.
Yeah, that's fine.
I feel better because I cannot dance. Dad dancing came from like rocking your baby to sleep, and I have got that mastered.
At least you've got an excuse, mate.
Aye.
I can't dance or dad dance. I am very much I'm going to sit by the dance floor, just get drunk, and then when everyone else has just sort of forgotten where they are, I'll just stumble in, just sorted, and just like sway around slightly. And I think I'm like John Travolta at that point. I'm all over it.
When I'm a few under, I have the moves.
Yeah, that's what I also think. And then everyone tells me about it the next day, and it's nah.
You see, there's always that one bastard that films you as well.
Yeah,
isn't there?
The invention of smartphones has been terrible for my ego.
Evidence.
Yeah.
You can't get away with anything now. You cannot make an arse of yourself and deny it the next day because you're hungover and can't really remember it. Because then your kids turn up with a smartphone and go, "Look at you, Dad!" For fuck's sake.
Exactly. Some idiots put it on. You've been framed.
Yeah, it's all over social media. Look at my dad. Fuck.
Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to this.
No, it's gonna be great, man. Imagine it though. When your kids are there, they're gonna have holograms of you dancing rather than just video on your phone.
We'll have those contact lenses where you just blink, flash.
Oh God, the Google Glass shit going on there.
Google Glass, smart glasses. Yeah, I saw those Ray-Bans are doing a pair apparently.
Are they?
Yeah, I saw those earlier on social media. It was Smart Rays or something.
Smart Rays, good name.
Yes, I like that. I like that. Imagine how long that took. Let's not even go down that road because I'll probably get sued by Ray-Ban.
I mean, someone got paid a lot of money to come up with Smart Race.
Yeah, I think that's the name. I can't remember off the top of my head.
If it's not, consider this a trademark.
Yes, we have it first. Pay us lots of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like Ray-Bans are smart. I was like, oh my god, we're stepping down that road. We're not even going to need a phone.
Ray-Bans are fucking expensive as it is, man. Like, how much?
Ray-Bans have always been expensive.
Yeah, how much are they going to cost now with extra technology?
I don't know, a couple of grand. Sunglasses are nuts money anyway.
Sunglasses are stupid money anyway.
They are.
I'm very fortunate that I just get most of mine for free, which is nice.
I'm so unlucky because I wear glasses. I have to get mine prescription.
Yeah. You could wear some of them cool flip down ones that you just clip on, like.
I have thought about this.
I just punched my mic in doing my impression of them there.
We got to film this because the hand gestures are nuts. Yeah, I have thought about those because like everyone's seen me wearing glasses. But yeah, I have thought about those clip-on bits.
Yeah,
you just flip them down.
I definitely think you could rock those, Steve.
Yeah, I might give those a go. I like them.
Wear your fanny pack as well.
Yeah, so you just got the different colour lenses. I've got the checkered shorts on for that actually, the fanny and pink t-shirt.
Salmon, Steve. It's salmon.
Salmon. Yeah, we'll go salmon. You know, a nice. Black, blue? Blue. We'll go blue on here. Navy blue.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Right, Steve. On that note, mate, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will dive into our preview of Misano.
Go for it.
Okay, guys, bear with us for just one moment and we will be right back with you. And we are back. Fresh drinks in hand. I've broken the rules, Steve. It's another vodka. Let's not tell Cherie, eh?
No, let's keep this one to ourselves. Does she listen to the pod?
She definitely does not listen to the show, man.
Good. You're safe. You're safe. We'll say it was beer.
Yeah, we'll say it was beer. She doesn't need to know otherwise.
When you're jumping all over her later.
Yeah.
Well, standing on top of her, should we say? Let's clarify that one.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be okay. She'll be sound asleep. As long as I can make it into the house without tripping over her, I'll be fine. And I just won't answer any phone calls.
Yeah, just don't go out in the garden.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to do it.
You'll be safe. Straight to bed.
Quite. I do have to say, Steve, I also had a wee, which you're fully aware of. I'm not letting you know this, but your hand soap smells delightful.
We got the extra sort of sweet smelling stuff for Enzo, so we can tell when he's washed his hands.
So clever.
Yes, so we're sort of letting him go to the toilet on his own.
Okay.
He's progressed to that stage where he can go for a wee on his own, but we want to be able to know if he's washed his hands.
Clever.
So the sweet smelling stuff, just like when he comes downstairs, just pick him up. Good boy. You can smell it.
Good shout, man. That is clever. I was thinking, I was like, God, this smells wonderful. What is it? I was like, cherry. I was like, it's like glacier cherry. It's like a properly sweet cherry smell. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. We've got all different manners of flavours to pop up there. So
nice.
It'll change week by week.
Oh, that's exciting.
I came home the other night. We had a really strawberry one, which is like blood red. And first time we let him do it. So he's like pressing the pump. And I came home and the white sink was just red. I was like, Sarah, who have you murdered? In our bathroom, who's been round?
Oh, that's great.
It's like everywhere because he's just like rubbing it all over the sink, getting it everywhere. We bought him a little stool to stand on because we realised he was stood on the toilet.
You're like, why is there always footprints on the toilet seat? This is weird.
I thought he's been really, really good and he's worked out from a young age. He's put the seat down, he's put the lid down. But no, he was actually stood on top of it to press the flush and then leaning over the sink. We're like, shit, we better give him a stool here.
Oh, that's gold, man.
But yeah, there's a parenting tip for you. If you want to know your kids are washing their hands, sweet smelling hand wash.
Yeah, that's clever. Now I'm going to think every time Cherie buys sweet smelling hand wash, it's for that reason.
Yeah, has Tim washed his hands.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure Sarah did it really for me.
Yeah, just to make sure you're actually washing your hands.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, Steve, toilet stories aside, let's dive into our race preview for the Gran Primo Nolan del Made in Italy Idel Emilia Romagna Grand Prix.
They've made it longer.
Yeah, they have made it longer. And obviously this is the second time we've been to Misano this year, but we didn't do a preview on the first time because I think it was their double header.
It was the weekend after a race, so we didn't have time to get this preview show in.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't do the preview show, but we knew we had another one coming. So, we saved it for this show because really we just need content.
We do. So yes. Although we filled it nicely.
We have filled it nicely so far. Anyway, so it's at the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli in Italy. I got a bit confused with this for a while because we always call it the San Marino Grand Prix normally. So
Yeah.
I assumed that this track was in San Marino. And I spent a lot of time Googling today trying to work out why nowhere said it was in San Marino. And it's only then I realised that it's not actually in San Marino at all. It is in Italy proper.
Yes.
But there we go. We'll learn something new every day. It features MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 because as we know, Moto E is now finished. The circuit is 2.63 miles or 4.2 kilometres and features 16 corners, 6 left-handers and 10 right-handers, although it did used to run the other way around.
Yes.
So it used to be what I like to call a Marc Marquez track. It did used to run with the 10 left-handers and 6 right-handers, but it was changed for safety reasons after being dropped from the calendar in 93 when Wayne Rainey received a career-ending injury there after his spinal cord injury.
Yes. Definitely.
Those corners that we see now, I'm not sure the names of the corners, but we see them that a series of right-handers where you slow right down. Each corner gets slower and slower and slower into the final right-hander. It used to be that those corners got faster and faster and faster.
To come into it and just build and build and build.
Which must have been incredible to ride, man. It must have been special, but the barriers are too close and stuff for it.
Can you imagine these modern bikes building through that series of corners? The speed would be insane.
Scary
just
fast,
lent
man.
into it, just pinning it, going for it. Imagine the tyre smoke, the squeal.
I was going to say, you imagine someone like Casey Stoner or Marquez going around there, just
Nuts
a
to
drift. Yeah, it would have been crazy, man.
Bliss to watch.
Yeah, but clearly not safe, which is why the changes happened.
Yeah, for the right reasons.
Yeah, it's a 14-metre wide circuit, which is a wide one, man.
Biggie. I was just looking at that, the stats on here, thinking it's a short, twisty, wide circuit. It covers a lot of area for a short, compact circuit.
Certainly, and when you think the longest straight is only 530 metres, like it's quite incredible that Ducatis are so good around here.
Yeah, it is. It shows how they come on.
Yeah, certainly.
It really does. Pays testament to that.
Yes, without a doubt. The track first appeared on the Premier Class calendar in 1980, and like we say, it was dropped in 1993. It came back in I haven't written that down. Ooh, now we're gonna have to guess. Came back in 2007, maybe.
I want to say 2004.
Okay, well let's scroll back to 2004 in the championship and see if it's on there, right?
Quick guess while Tim does his Googling bits.
2004, it doesn't appear to be there. I'm just scrolling through MotoGP calendar now. Man, it's weird seeing only a 16 race calendar.
Yeah, some of those back then are pretty damn short.
Yeah.
And the summer break was long.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that now thinking about it. Like the summer break now, when it even in normal years where it hits 4 or 5 weeks, you're like, that's too much.
I think sometimes it was like 7-8 weeks.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was a long summer break.
Jeez, man, that is a long summer break. That's quite painful to think about now.
Yeah, but it felt like a proper holiday.
Okay, that's fair.
Almost broke the season. Well, it did break the season into 2 like massive chunks.
Yeah. Right, I can't actually find when it came back, annoyingly.
No worries. Let's not worry about that. It's not a problem. It came back on came back on the calendar at such and such a time.
2008.
2008. You were closer than what I was.
That's fair. I'll take that. It seems like a victory. Yeah, I think it was 2008. Scrolling through just the MotoGP.com stats now.
Yeah.
The most wins. This is a fun one here. The most wins at this track is split between 3 riders. Marquez, Lorenzo, and Rossi each have 3 wins. Obviously, only one of those riders is on the grid still. Yeah. Well, no, that's not true at all. 2 of those riders are on the grid still, but one of them is barely scoring points. Yeah. But Lorenzo and Vinales, interestingly, both have 4 pole positions at the circuit each.
Yeah, I'm then looking at that, I think those guys did fly around here. Vinales.
It was a very good Yamaha track for a very long time.
Yeah, it was. It's the twisties.
Exactly.
When these bikes really came into their fruition, it suited them to the T.
Yep.
It really, really did.
Yeah, certainly. And it's only, like we say, the most recent Ducatis that can really turn corners that have been very good around there.
Yeah.
And arguably, maybe only the last 2 or 3 years. Did Lorenzo ever win round there on a Ducati?
No, I don't think he did. All his wins came around here on the Yamaha.
Okay.
So then you look at Marquez, who just slides it everywhere and won everything.
Well, I mean, this is a period of Marquez domination, wasn't it? He just did everything. There was, I mean, how many tracks has he not won on? He's never won at Austria.
No. For some bizarre reason, I was about to say he's never won at Sachsenring, but I'm thinking,
I mean, he's never lost at Saxon
No.
Ring.
that's completely the wrong way around. There's not many tracks that he's never won at.
No, this is one of the few.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't see him. Oh, he finished. What did he finish? Fourth here last year. Last time, a few weeks ago. Last year.
Fifth? He wasn't far away from the podium, was he?
No, he wasn't. He had quite a good race, I think.
He did have a good race here. But then at the minute, he's not having a bad race ever, really.
No, that's
Even
fair.
with what's going on in the background with his injury and recovery.
Yeah, it was fourth last year.
Yeah, it was fourth. So, last time out.
Yes, last year. It's hard, isn't it? I keep saying last
It's
year, but it
always
really
hard,
wasn't that long ago.
It's only last year and this year that we've had these
weird things, yeah.
this weird situation where we're doubling up on a track.
Yeah, exactly.
And it gets even more confusing when they change the bloody name. And then you start associating it with a different track, and it confused the hell out of me last year.
Yeah.
When we did all those shows, and it was like the hashtags that if you wanted to post about it were completely different.
Yeah, you're like, where is the Teruel GP again? Yeah.
What are we doing here? Where is this track? We're going to this new track. No, we're not.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What is Styria?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
It's like, why? Just go to the bloody Austrian
Yeah,
race.
exactly.
It's just this weird scenario. And it's just natural. You think, right, the last time we were here was last year. No, it wasn't. It was only 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's weird, man, isn't it?
It is weird. It's an odd, bizarre situation to be in, but this is what we're going to get with COVID.
Yeah,
hopefully
certainly.
it'll all change next year, but we're living in it. Let's deal with it.
Well, I mean, in theory, if everything goes to plan, next year's a 21 race season. It'll be the longest MotoGP season ever.
Yeah.
It will be just, and everything should be back to normal in
Bloody
theory.
hope. But then, if we're not, we'll deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. We say we'll deal with it. We'll sit at home and watch it, and we'll
Yeah.
let like Dorna and the teams deal with it.
That's it. We'll give them a round of applause at the end of the year when they've sorted out our entertainment for the year.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
we just assume is easy to organise and sort out, and it's just a breeze in the park.
Well, we're sitting here like armchair experts, like, well, they've done this wrong.
Yeah,
like
you
if you
should
know how
have
much
done this.
paperwork
Why
was
did you
involved.
not think about this, you muppets? Yeah, we don't mean that. We do thank you for all your efforts.
Yeah, we really do.
Although
But
you hate
we're
me.
also armchair experts, so we will continue to rant and rave about it.
Yeah, we will give you what we think, and if you do it wrong, we will criticise the hell out of you.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
we will also love you at the same time for bringing us a sport we absolutely adore.
And that's a fair point, because as much as I do criticise at times, I also am very much on that page. I'm like, without Dorna and without the FIM, without Erta here, like
Yeah.
we wouldn't have MotoGP. And MotoGP has been a very special part of my life for the last decade or so, and just becomes more so every year, especially with this show, to be fair. It's made me pay more attention to it, and
Yeah.
actually made me love it even more.
Exactly. Although Dorna absolutely hate me.
They do. And annoyingly, by association, hate me too.
Well, yeah, that's my bad. I take the full rap for this.
I'm going to have to get you to scrawl in like Crayola here. Like, not Tim's fault, signed Steve.
Yeah.
So I can just carry this around with me everywhere.
If we ever get to a track and ever get backstage, you will have to get a little pass that says, "Not my fault, him."
Yeah, blame him. I'll just have my t-shirt. Blame him with an arrow to my right. I'm like, shit, he's on my left. Shit on it.
Some poor random walking by. Come here, you.
His fault.
Poor old Dave again.
Always Dave, sadly. So the outright lap record around Misano, Steve, belongs to Bagnaia, who got it in 2021, strangely. 131.065. That's also the pole lap record from this year. It's weird, isn't it? It is weird to say these things about it. It's this year, but this year's race hasn't been yet, I know, but it has been, sort of. It's strange.
It's a bizarre scenario. But do we think, since we were only there a few weeks ago, do we think we'll see that? We often see the lap record broken.
It should be obliterated, mate. I
Yeah.
think it will be smashed.
I think.
I imagine we
down
will
into
see
130s.
the pole lap will be in the 130s. So
Yeah.
only if the conditions play ball, Steve.
Exactly.
And
That's
we'll
what
get to
I was
that.
then coming to. That was, yeah. I saw that just a little bit further down. So let's carry on, and we'll discuss that in a sec.
Yeah, exactly. So the race lap record goes to Enea Bastianini, strangely, obviously from 2021 as well, and
Yep.
that was a 132.2. So 1.1 seconds, 1.2 seconds actually is not that much of a difference
It's
between the
closer
pole
than what
lap and
we've
the race
seen.
lap.
We discussed this just recently, haven't we? Where it's sometimes a massive, massive gap.
Sometimes we've seen it 2 to 4 seconds.
Yeah,
But like this is close.
it is close. I think it will get closer.
I
think this
imagine
weekend we
the
could
race
see
lap
it.
record will be faster this weekend.
Yeah, although I think we're going to see the outright lap record. broken. I do think the race time is going to get closer to it.
Yes, I agree, and we will also see the entire race time should be quicker by, I would imagine, 10 to 15 seconds for the winner over the entire race than the last one. But again, it depends if the conditions play ball.
Yeah.
On that note, we'll jump to the conditions, then we'll just jump back as we were. But the weather for the weekend: Friday looks wet, looks to be wet all day.
Yes.
Saturday looks set to dry up around midday, and it will be reasonably warm. You're looking at highs of 20 to 22 degrees. Sunday looks like it'll be dry, but it looks cold. It doesn't look like the air temperature's going to break 20 degrees all day. If it's going to be cloudy, the track is going to be cold, man.
It's going to be interesting.
So maybe we won't see the lap records broken.
No, this is where it was so late in the year now to go to a round like this. Is when we normally see the flyaways where it's a bit warmer. This is going to add an element which they're not used to.
This is why Quartararo needs to wrap the championship up quick, because we know Quartararo is going to struggle. It has struggled historically on a MotoGP bike in the rain or in mixed conditions. He's not been as fast as the guy he's battling with for the title in Pecco Bagnaia, who has been great in the wet. So Quartararo needs to take as many points out of this as he can. If he can't win the race, he has to finish second, because there is a real chance that Portimao could be wet and Valencia could be wet. Yep.
So we could be looking at a very interesting end of the season.
Certainly, it could spice it up. The weather could really spice the end of the championship up. I don't think it will. I think Quartararo is still going to comfortably take it, but there is a chance that the weather could make a big difference.
And we could even see this weather change.
I mean, it might change. Yeah,
it could do. I mean, we could see a fully wet weekend.
And that could really do it, because I think Bagnaia can win in the wet or the dry at Misano. I think Quartararo can win in the dry. I don't think he can win in the wet.
I don't think he can win in the wet.
I think he'll be lucky to be anywhere near the podium in the wet. He's had podiums in the wet this year, but I think he will struggle with just the armada of Ducatis that are going to be around him.
They will just be flying everywhere.
Exactly. And it's amazing, isn't it? The Ducati, as much as it's improved, is still an astonishing bike in the wet. We saw this.
Always been.
It's amazing, isn't it? In the entire history of Ducati, they've had a bike that at some point has been shit in the dry, but as soon as it's wet, oh my God, Rossi's on the podium.
Exactly.
Like Dovi's taking wins.
It's just a weird machine that has always been a hell of a thing in the wet. Maybe someone would build it that way. Let's build one that works in adverse conditions first, and then we'll worry about getting it to work in the dry.
I can't imagine anyone did. That's a very counterintuitive strategy, isn't it? They're like,
imagine putting that proposal down in front of the board of directors.
The board are like, it's going to be wet for 20% of races. What the fuck are you talking about?
What we're going to do is go the complete opposite to everyone else. Man, what the fuck is this?
Well, I do. Smoking? In a particularly wet year, it would really pay off. I remember 2015.
We had, 5 wet races?
It felt like a particularly wet year. And I think that is the only reason that Rossi managed to battle for the title all the way is because it was a wet year, and because this is Lorenzo's later career where he was a bit shit in the wet. He'd smashed himself up so many times in the wet that he was a bit shit, which is why Rossi took it to the final round. But that's quite a contentious statement. I know a lot of Rossi fans will be like
fuming right now.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
Exactly. You've pissed them off. I've pissed them off. We're all okay now.
That's it. We just lost a load of followers.
So the last podium at Misano, which was just a few weeks ago, looked like this. Pecco Bagnaia won the race from Fabio Quartararo. There was about 3/10 in it by the final lap. It was close. And Enea Bastianini went on that absolute tear at the end of the race. It was, I can't remember the places now, and I'd have to look at a lap chart to actually confirm this, but I feel like he went from 10th to 3rd in the last third of the race. He just was on a tear.
Everyone else seemed to get slower. Tyres seemed to go off.
Bastianini just picked up the pace.
Yeah, he just seemed to conserve everything and was like, well, actually, hang on. I don't think he actually got quicker. Everyone else got slower.
Well, I mean, he was clearly faster than anyone by having the race lap record.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did have, in 4 laps to go, I think it was, he did have the fastest lap.
Yeah,
so he was clearly picking up pace. But everyone else was dropping off pace, so he didn't have to up his that much.
No, exactly.
He just had to take it that little bit. If he could do the same game, I'm sure he's going to come in at this weekend thinking, right.
Well, and I mean, and actually Rookie of the Year battle now. And this is another prediction, throwing back to something we said earlier in the show. I think I predicted Luca Marini to be Rookie of the Year, so I really fucked that. I don't think you did. I can't remember who you went with, but I don't think it was Luca Marini. But we'll cover that.
In the
I wrote all of these down so we could come back and cover it properly.
So we're going to have to have a look. I said, who the fuck did I say?
I don't know, but there's only now 11 points between Martin and between Bastianini, which is quite amazing when you look at Martin's season. Like, Martin has won a race. He's had 3 pole positions. He's been on the podium at least twice, if not 3 times. But he missed a chunk of races at the start, and that's really hurt him. And now Bastianini coming to form on an older bike, yes, it's looking like he could challenge for Rookie of the Year. And that, is it a BMW for Rookie of the Year? It's an M3,
I think
isn't
it is, yeah. I think it is an M3. I mean, what a prize.
Yeah, quite. I mean, these guys are earning so much, even they're the lowest wage in the grid can quite comfortably afford to go and buy an M3.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. But even so, it's just to have that accolade.
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year. Just stand out against your teammates. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What a thing to have.
So race distance then, Steve, it looks like this for the 3 classes. MotoGP is 27 laps, that's 71 miles or 114k. Moto2 is 25 laps, 65 miles, 105k. And Moto3 is 23 laps, 60 miles or 97 kilometres. So plenty of racing for everyone involved.
Aye.
And this is the point, Steve, where we get to predictions for the weekend. I sort of struggle with my predictions.
I've struggled all day.
And I really only struggled with 3rd place because I'm pretty convinced if it stays dry, it's going to be Bagnaia going to take the win. Even if it's wet, I think Bagnaia is going to take the win. Quartararo, I think, will be 2nd as long as it's dry. And I really struggled. I was like, to start with, it's going to be Martin. I was like, nah, it's not going to be Martin. I don't think Martin will do it. He crashed out of the last one here. He's got very few laps around here on a MotoGP bike. Plus, he's looking at some quite experienced competition. I was like, it's Miller or Bastianini. And I think I'm going to put my money down on Miller because I feel like I've committed to Miller a lot this year and I've really fucked it by committing to him. But it's the sunk cost fallacy at this point is I'm just going to keep committing to him and I'm going to hope for the best. So I'm going Bagnaia, Quartararo, Miller.
Like it. Yeah. I'm going Bagnaia, Bastianini, Quartararo.
Oh, you're giving Bastianini another podium.
Yeah, I think it was spurred on. We know the Ducatis go around here well.
That's fair.
Go around here well. That was very Yoda. Go well around here.
That's fine. We can go with the Yoda speech, mate.
I always like a bit of Yoda speech. Yeah, I just think he's just going to pip him a bit.
Yeah?
I do.
I think he will be paid a handsome bonus from Ducati if he does so.
I think that if they put in a last 2-lap scenario where you've got Bagnaia leading, Quartararo 2nd, and Bastianini in 3rd, with Bastianini thinking he can catch, I think we're going to really see what he could do.
Yes, I think it'd be quite incredible. And I think he would be thinking the entire time, Gigi will love this.
Yes, Gigi will sit me down for dinner and smile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And do nothing else but smile at me.
And maybe stroke his beard.
Yeah, maybe. Just give it that little stroke.
With his head tilted back, as always.
Yeah. And he might crack a massive smile and just stare at me.
Yeah. And what more do you want from a lovely Italian man for them to just smile and just look at you?
Yeah. And just at the end of the night, bravo.
That's all it takes, man.
That would be it. I'd be like, done.
You're like, that's worth a fucking pay rise just there.
Yeah, that bravo. That's all I want. And a beer stroke. I'll be happy with that.
So, Steve, that kind of brings us to the end of the show, man. Are you going to be watching the race live over the weekend?
I will try to. My little boys are not very well at the minute. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to give them a pretty chilled weekend. Although it's only Tuesday now, they've got plenty of time to recover. Yeah. I'm going to try to watch it as much as possible. I don't think we've got a lot going on. Possibility Sarah might have football Sunday. Okay. But even so, I'll still be here with the boys. Good stuff. Obviously, keeping their education going. That's it. So I'm actually going away. I forgot to mention this to you off air, Steve. So I need to talk to you about this, and I'm going to talk to you about it now, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be here for the weekend, so I'm going to be watching the racing. But Monday, I'm going camping with my brother for a week. You said you're going yes, camping at the end of October for a week because that's the British thing to do when the weather's looking like it's going to get a bit shit. Yeah, I had to borrow a tent from my dad because I was like, my tent's like this lightweight backpacking tent that's designed for hiking. It weighs like 800 grams or something, but it's also like a 3-season tent, man. It ain't going to be putting up with no winter camping. So I borrowed a good tent off my dad and I'm set up, but I am going to be at a campsite in Baconsthorpe. Now, I don't know what the signal is like in Baconsthorpe, Steve, near here, but I can't imagine it's going to be great. So I wouldn't imagine you're going to get marvellous signal out there. No, I'm going to have to get there and test it and we'll see what happens. I'm either going to record the podcast from the car, where I'm going to be sitting in the campsite and I will Skype you and I'll just record from the car. Or I'm going to drive to Holt maybe, or to Sheringham if I have to. And then I mean, if it comes to it and the signal's shit everywhere, I'll just drive here and then drive back afterwards. But if you're going to drive to Holt, you might as well just go around my mum's.
There we go. I'll go hang out with your mum and record the podcast from there.
She'd love that. You would absolutely love it. If you roll up around my mum, so like, Steve's mum, I'm Tim, I'm coming to record the podcast, you would just get so much food thrown at you.
Oh, that's ideal. Maybe I'll do that then. But I'll see how the signal and stuff is there, and I'll work it out, and I'll let you know. But I will try my utmost to record the podcast. It will probably be from the car, so the sound's going to be a bit weird, but I will do my best.
Fair enough.
We do have my brother has got this like palatial tent. The tent
you spoke, yeah, you did tell me about this.
Yeah, oh my god, man. He's got the electric hookups, he's got heaters. He asked me if I had a tent or if I wanted to sleep on his sofa bed. I was like, your sofa bed? He went, yeah, I've got a sofa bed when I go camping. I was like, camping? With a sofa bed?
It's not camping.
That's what I said. But, it will work for me. So that's fine. We'll have electricity, so I'll be able to keep my devices charged. So we will be able to record. We'll have to just work out what's going on.
Right, yeah. We'll test the waters. So pre-warning, could be a bit of a weird show.
Yes, exactly. We'll see how it goes, eh?
Going to have my mum in the background.
We have your mum on the show, mate. She can just guest.
She's just wandering. Steve!
That would be great. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. I will let you know. And guys, we will try our utmost to do a show. And if for some reason we can't, then we will work it out and we will record a show late and we'll do a double show or something. That's fine.
We'll sort something out.
Anyway, if you've got anything you want to say to us, guys, any questions, any comments at all, you can find us on...
We are For the Love of MotoGP, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter, or if you're into Facebook, come and join the Facebook community. It's all growing nicely. We've gained a couple of we've followers this week.
Yeah, there's been some conversation flowing again. Like I say, it was a bit quiet for a few weeks. I was off the boil a bit, doing other shit. You were preoccupied with real life jobs, kids and stuff, so it had got a bit quiet, but it's picking up again now. We've both been in there posting shit. Those great Kawasaki retro liveries you posted pictures of are wonderful,
amazing. They're really, really nice. Check those out. But yeah, come and join, come and get involved, come and have a chat, meet some other people. Everyone in there is really nice. The conversation flows. So if you've got any questions, ask them in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone else is really friendly, so come and join us, have a chat, come and get on board. Or if you want to email us, we are fortheloveofmotogp@gmail.com.
Good stuff. And don't forget about the Fantasy League, guys. It's nearly over, but you can still join if you want to. If you've already got a team set up elsewhere, you can join this league with your current team.
Yep.
And for those of you that are in the league already, don't forget there's still a few days to change your lineup. I've set my lineup for this weekend, Steve. Have you?
I think I've already done mine. I think I did it straight after the last race.
I did exactly that too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was getting really annoyed because I can't think of any round this year where I've had all four riders finish. So that's really cost me big in points.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I just swapped them out last time.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done with all of you.
I am finished, but I've still got 2 boosts to use. So
and you've only got 3 rounds to do it, mate.
Exactly. So I'm feeling, next 2 rounds. I'm not going to put anything on Valencia because it's just Valencia. So.
And I think Portimao's actually a very hard one to put rounds on anyway. I think I'd rather wait till Valencia than Portimao if I were you.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll see how I feel. See how this weekend goes and what sort of position I'm in. Way down in 48th.
I'm still tucked into the top 10. I committed my boosts, 2 of my boosts, very early on in the season.
You did, yeah.
And I got them wrong as well. Well, no, I got them wrong.
You did get them wrong, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest, my team's been shit.
Yeah, it's always next year, Steve.
Yeah, I started with the 4 bad ones.
The battle for podcast host honours will continue next year.
It's definitely got a turn this year. Jesus.
I think you beat me last year, though, so it'll be 1-1.
So it's 1-1. Next year is the decider.
Oh dear. You make it sound like it's the final year, Steve. What are you saying here? Right, guys, thank you very much for listening. We will speak to you all next week. Stay safe, look after each other, guys. Goodbye.
Take care, guys.
Music is by Andrew Greenwood. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.